Oh, hey. Greetings, fellow Earthlings. Today is February 19th, 2024, and this is episode 7 of MindMosaic. And this is the first kind of pretty much entirely unscripted episode of MindMosaic. I kind of wanted to try something different and just do a more sort of personal style video, less editing, less scriptedness, just kind of like me talking about the topic straight off the dome rather than reading off a script or having memorized the script. Given that this is the third episode of the second month, which is the month of mathematics, I wanted to explore the pattern of networks. Networks in general are kind of gaining more popularity. Just the word network is gaining more popularity because of its reputation as like the professional aspect of building a network, as in making connections in order to advance one's professional life. But that is just the very surface of what networks actually are. Essentially, what a network is in its structure is it's kind of two things. It's nodes or points. So picture unfinished or unstarted connect the dots puzzle. So just a bunch of dots, like the stars, or like a bunch of marbles spilled all over the floor. And then the network is formed when those dots are connected with lines. And once all of the dots are connected to each other, you now have a network. And what a network does is those lines allow for the transmission of data throughout the entirety of the network. These lines of connection, they come in many forms. I mean, language is one of them. The internet is one of them. They are the bridges, essentially, between the nodes in a network. And when connected, that's what gives rise to the network. So, there's many types of networks in the natural world. I mean, the one that first comes to mind for me is neural networks. I mean, sorry about the geese. Our brains themselves are networks. Basically, in your head, in your skull, you have a whole bunch of nerve cells that are all interacting with each other and exchanging electrochemical information, kind of creating this big matrix of movement of information from one area to the other and back. It's like I don't really know what to compare it to. It's like a big brain, a big cluster of cells that are all in communication with each other. Now, I think it's really interesting that at the most basic level, what a brain is a network. It is a collection of many individual cells that, when brought together through their interactions, they somehow create this synergistic effect, this consequence that we call our sense of self or our consciousness. We are able to experience ourselves. I'm able to see, I'm able to hear and think because of this complex network of cells within my brain. The internet is a network of computers, really, that are connected. A artificial intelligence is based upon a neural network model that is itself based upon the human brain. It's a network of interconnectedness. What a network does is a network turns parts into a whole. And when you have a diverse array of different individual components and you allow them to be connected through information, through the movement of information from one to the other, you're turning those parts into a whole, and something bigger and something more integrated, a larger kind of collective thing emerges out of that. In the same way that, the cells in your brain are individual cells, but when all together and when all firing together, this sense of you emerges out of that interaction between all of these millions, billions, I don't even know how many. You emerge out of the interaction of these neurons. I think that the universe is probably a giant brain. We are kind of like cells in that giant brain. This is how networks work. I mean, it's individuals come together, and through their communication, this larger collective intelligence arises out of it. Your cells coming together creates you, who you are. Trees are connected to each other through an underground network of fungus. They are able to communicate with each other, and they go from being single trees to being this collective forest, where every single part is connected to every other. And it's like, there's something to that. There's something to this network structure, because it's everywhere. And when you realize what it is, you'll start to see it everywhere. And you'll start to see that wherever it appears, it kind of always does the same thing. It takes all of these little things and it kind of unifies them into this collective thing. They don't stop being individuals, but they, as individuals, create this other thing that kind of blossoms out of it. I think that there is a tremendous untapped potential for both innovation and exploration, and just the expansion of our own minds when we realize that you have individual components. Those components are bridged into a single cohesive network. Then that cohesive network becomes its own individual unit. After all, we are individual units. I am a human being. I am a unit. And yet I am also a network, because my brain is a network. But I'm also a unit because I can connect with my family, I can connect with my community, I can connect with the world through the internet. And all of a sudden, I'm part of a larger network. As opposed to just being an individual, I'm now part of something greater. I think this is the true, glorious potential of the internet, is to facilitate this. The problem is that there hasn't been enough initiative to do so with a sense of intentionality. It's kind of been sort of willy-nilly. The internet, it was the chosen one. It was going to allow us to communicate across continents, across cultures, and yet the people haven't made it do so. The internet is a tool, it's not just this end-all be-all miracle solution. It's a very powerful form of technology. The circumstances under which we've used the internet to build networks most of the time are sort of not really fully thought through. But it doesn't have to be that way. We aren't just individuals. We are nodes in a larger network. And if we realize that, we become conscious. We bring a luminous quality to this network to say, oh, I understand that I am part of a greater whole. And when you realize that, you bring this thing to that greater whole. You bring this quality of awareness, and you bestow that upon to this thing that you're a part of. It's what I'm trying to do right now. I mean, really. YouTube is a great social network because it allows for anything. But that's also its greatest flaw, because there's no specificity to it. It's not, there is no mission. Sure, there's people on this platform that have a mission, myself included, probably yourself included, but that's not explicit within the platform itself. So that's what I'm proposing, is the creation of new networks. Because we have the technology now, we have the means, and there's a vision that's dawning. There's a vision of a future that is dawning. The network is connection. That's what it is, really. Like that is the most basic way to explain what it is. It's connection. It's the connection between us. It's the connection between you and your loved ones. It's the connection between things that are seen as separate. It bridges that gap. And that's very important, because that's how we build. That's how we create. We create through collaboration. You know, we can only do so much as individuals. We need to work together. And you do that through a network. That's what a network is. It's a collection of individuals that work together, that work in harmony with each other to build something, to destroy something, to change something. That is what a network is. You know, a network doesn't have to be a professional thing. Networking doesn't have to be a professional thing. Networking can be you communicating your honest feelings with your friends or your family. And when you do that, you form those connections. You strengthen those connections. You weave a web. That's what mushrooms do. That's what fungus does. It connects things. It connects the trees to each other. It allows them to exchange nutrients. It allows them to communicate with each other. I'm out at a public staircase right now, so there's people who keep walking up and down. I have to like move out of the way, and hopefully they don't like get mad at me and be like, "Are you putting me on the internet?" If they say that, I'm gonna say, "Yes, I am. There's nothing you could do about it." What was I saying? Yeah. That's why I titled this video "How to Network Like a Mushroom," because mushrooms, they're the kings, the undisputed kings of networks. You know, maybe AI one day will be the undisputed king of networks, but until then it's fungus. You know, they're the OGs. They've been around a long time, and they've been doing their work for a long time. And that's what they do. They network. They network better than any of us. I think that within the current zeitgeist, the idea of networking means to create professional connections. And that is technically networking by definition, but I think that that is just one element of what networking actually is. You know, that's just one definition of it. That's one aspect of it. It's like saying that walking is walking to work. You know? It's like, yes, when you walk to work, you are walking. But walking to work is not the definition of walking. Walking is so much more broad than that. It's the same thing with networking. Networking isn't just a professional thing. It has a much wider scope than that. I mean, I would go so far as to say that when you talk to anyone, you're networking. Whenever you communicate with another person, that is networking. Because you're creating a line, you're creating a bridge between the individual nodes. You know, we are nodes in a network. I think really ultimately what my point is that we need to consciously and actively create strong networks that have a purpose, that have purposes. Community networks. Not exclusively community networks, but that's an example. We need to forge and nurture the connections between us, because we're living in an age of like rampant technological innovation. And this is only the beginning. Like, this is like, we're slipping over the edge right now. Shit's about to get crazy. Like, absolutely bonkers. The world is going to be unrecognizable. And so there's an urgency to us forming, strengthening, and maintaining our connections with each other as people, as human beings. Whoa. There's a big bird over there. Hold on. Is that a stork on someone's roof? But yeah, I got distracted. But what I was saying was that we need to actively and consciously build, strengthen, and maintain our connections with each other as individuals so that we can have some groundedness throughout this craziness that's coming as humans, as the emotional beings that we are, because like there's going to be a lot of emotions that are gonna happen within the next year. A lot is gonna happen. That's why I'm doing this, really. That's why I'm making this YouTube channel. That's why I'm making these videos, because like I see it coming. And a lot of other people see it coming too. And that bird is so cool. Anyway, there's no stopping it. What's happening with artificial intelligence, what's happening with, nanotechnology and, gene editing and all of these amazing innovations, it's outpacing us. We are outpacing ourselves in a way. The rate at which we are advancing is accelerating. It's exponential. And we can see that now. Without going off on a whole nother tangent, like we see that now because you've been alive for like anything beyond the past 20 years or anything beyond even the past like 15 years. You've seen it happen right before your eyes. And you've seen the way that this curve, it's not normal growth. The rate at which this is happening it's not comparable to like the rate of the expansion of like a business. It's leading to something that none of us know, and none of us can imagine, and none of us can predict what it's going to be. But I think we all feel it coming, and we all feel it kind of like the calm before the storm, or the, not even the calm, but like the restlessness, the angst. It's like a volcano that's about to erupt. And I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's good either. I just think it's transcendent in a way, just beyond us. That's why these networks are important. That's why it's important that we have these conversations, because this is the last chance we're going to get. We need to create it. We need to create these communities. And I don't even mean communities the way this word is conventionally understood. I mean like people need to talk to each other. We need to get connected more than ever. We are connected, but not in a way that's real. We're connected in like a totally meaningless and superficial way. We're connected through shallow and fake Instagram posts. I am very happy that I'm almost proud of like this current generation, of my generation, for kind of waking up and realizing that like this whole social media thing is like, it's a scam almost. It's robbing us of our attention and almost like of our souls in a weird way, like not in like a literal way, but in a sort of a metaphorical way. We give it all we are. We sell all we are to this thing. That's not connection. That's exploitation. That's getting trapped. Connection takes effort. It takes a willingness. It takes humility. It takes a grace of sorts, a willingness to just say, let's try. Because we're going to need each other. We're going to really need each other. As human beings, we're prone to conflict, we're prone to negative emotions, but I think beyond that, beyond our emotions, both negative and positive, there's a space within us that is just compassionate more than anything. A space that sees another suffering and will extend a hand to help them and to end their suffering. But you can't help someone if you don't even know they're suffering, you know? Intentional networks. Networks with a purpose, a humanitarian purpose, like a true purpose for good, for something meaningful. It could be anything, really. Communication has never been easier. But there's a lack of guidance, I find, or not, maybe even not guidance, but there's a lack of just like a true intention. What is the intention with this? What is the goal? You know, I feel like that problem kind of, it applies to a lot. I think that's one of our biggest problems, both individually and collectively, is just a lack of knowing what we want, knowing what we want to do here, because we're here and we can do stuff. You know, I can like pick this up and throw it. You know, we have influence over this world, as much as it may feel sometimes like we don't, as much as we might feel powerless, completely powerless sometimes. We're here and we do have power, and we have an astounding amount of power as a collective when we come together and when we decide that we want to do something. And we've seen that happen throughout history so many times, like the pyramids, you know, like huge, large-scale infrastructural, like crazy stuff has been accomplished by us humans when we had that goal. But we're aimless right now. We're like teenagers who are, you know, just lost in life, and we don't know which way to go. And we are. Even as individuals, I am, you know, but I'm figuring it out. And I think that as I do, other people are too, you know. You know, people talk about like there's this crisis of meaning. There's a lack of meaning. People are lacking meaning in their lives. And, you know, some people say that's because people are less religious. And, well, I mean, sure, like, I guess if you're not religious, you're going to have less meaning, but you don't need religion to have meaning. Meaning can come from something as simple as just like taking care of an animal. That's meaning. That's purpose. And it gives you the same thing that religion does. It gives you direction. It gives you a reason to exist. You know, I don't really know if this video constitutes as what the original vision for MindMosaic was, because I'm going off topic, talking about all these different things. But the reason why I created this YouTube channel is because I wanted to talk about this stuff, and I felt like there was a need within the collective psyche for this kind of conversation. So I don't know. Maybe this isn't the type of thing that you want to see on this YouTube channel. In which case, that's fine. Comment that. Let me know. But maybe it is. Maybe this is exactly why you're here. It's why I'm here. To network. To build a network. And to encourage you to do the same. Because we need each other, you know? We can only do so much alone. We can only bear so much alone. It's like that's what that's what gives us our edge. That's what gives us our magic as people, is that we're great as individuals, but when we come together, the things we do are incredible. The fact that we have AI now is proof of that. You know, the fact that people can come together and create something that is arguably intelligent. I mean, that's just what it's called. Artificial intelligence. We can create that. We can come together and create artificial intelligence. Like, there is nothing that, to me, points more towards our collective ability for change, for growth, for anything we want, anything we put our minds to. And I think we all kind of want the same thing. You know? Maybe we all want different versions of it, but at the most basic level, I mean, we all just want to get our basic needs met. Food, water, heat, shelter, and we want people who we care about, relationships. And all it takes is a little organization. All it takes is for a random person like me, for you, to sit in front of a camera or type onto a blog post or onto Twitter a goal, a vision, an idea, and then to just let the people who believe in it find it. And then you can move mountains. Then we can move mountains. I think it's why we're here. Without, getting too crazy deep, I think we're here to be the conscious stewards of this planet, of this world, this universe even. This place which we find ourselves in. We can see it. We can think about it. And we can influence it. And I think we have a responsibility to do right by it. Because it's all we have. This is our home. This earth is our home. Your family is your only family. This human race, it's the only one we got. This cosmos is just one. Unless there's a multiverse. In which case, it's just one multiverse. Still. The sun's coming out. When I left today to come out here, because I wanted to do this outside, I just thought, I want to really change it up. I really want to do something different with this one. It was completely overcast. There was like one tiny little sliver of blue sky. And now there's quite a lot. I am one of those people who really gets affected by the weather and by the seasons. If I can see the blue, it's crazy how much it influences my mood. I find that very interesting, how much our emotions are influenced by the weather. It's kind of humorous, honestly, because we think of our emotions as being these like deep things, and yet you might be having the worst day ever, and then the sun comes out and your entire mood changes, which is just so, there's almost a humor in that, because it's like, it kind of shows you what matters. So yeah, I feel like I've kind of covered everything. If I didn't, the birds definitely did. I'm going to give you a challenge. Create a group chat with as many members of your community as you can. And title that group chat Your Community Group Chat. Like, in parentheses, your community. Like, the name of your community group chat. If you don't want to do that, if that's too much work, do it with your family. But build that network. Create that network. Not because I told you to, but because it's a good idea. And if you don't want to do that, just go outside. Go outside, go on a walk or a run, preferably a run if you can run, assuming you're able-bodied. Go outside and talk to the first stranger you see. Talk to them. About whatever. And just make that connection, only if it's one. One connection is plenty. One connection is one more than there was prior. It spreads. And that's what the next episode's going to be about. Is the way that it multiplies. The way that it grows and ripples. So I'm getting pretty cold. So just build the networks. Just any effort whatsoever. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It can be something super tiny and minute. But just do one thing. Just do one little thing and I swear that this eagle is intentionally interrupting me when I try to talk. Maybe that's a sign that that I've said all I need to say. So just enjoy it. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your life. Yeah, just stay tuned, and I will see you in the next episode. Take care. My fellow I don't even know. My fellow Homo sapiens. Let's keep it simple. Let's do it simple this time. Okay.